Yeah, I wasted the good intro on last week. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to an all-new episode of the Banter Podcast, episode number 83. Is that correct? That's crazy. Actually, I think I have I may have a typo in this. It says 82 on it. I have to fix that. It's crazy. We're back for a second week in a row. I guess I skipped over intros. I'm Tim, if you haven't joined us before, and I'm joined by my ever-present, ever-lovely co-host, Kevin Bradley, the man, the beard, the legend over there, sitting in front of that treasure trove of toys. How you doing, man?
Good. How about you?
Just got toy envy, man. It seems like every time I see that shelf, it gets more and more organized, and my envy gets more and more cataloged. Except for Beast Wars. I think Beast Wars completely evens it out.
Shut your mouth.
Like those kaiju, I want those kaiju so bad, but I think they're tainted. They're tainted because it's one bad
new Beast Wars movie. I think. Ooh. I'm so excited.
One bad apple ruins the bunch, kind of thing, and a Beast Wars definitely ruins the bunch there. So those things are tainted.
Whatever.
They got infected with the SIVA, and they weren't looking for it, I guess. So welcome back, guys. Second week in a row. Again, we are going to be bringing you this every week, whether you like it or not. Hopefully you like it. And if you do, make sure that if you're listening to us on iTunes, obviously if you're watching this, completely different story. But if you're listening to us on iTunes, make sure you just hit the rate button. You don't have to leave us a review. You can hit the rate button. Let us know what you think of the show. If you have any comments, 5 stars would be nice. 4 stars.
Look, I mean, you said second week in a row, but for any new listeners, we're not newbies here. This second week in a row and getting back on track. We've been doing this for 3 years. We got this down pat. So just go ahead, get ahead of the game, throw a like or a comment. Be sure to subscribe. We'll be back next week. We're not going to let you guys down anymore. We feel bad about it.
Yeah, I do feel.
We're what, 3 years in on this? 2 years in at least?
I think it was Martin Luther King weekend 2013. So it's been over 3 years at this point.
Yeah.
I believe that's when it was.
Yeah.
So obviously you could tell we're
pretty good. We're pretty good at this.
Yeah.
82 episodes in 3 years. Pretty good.
Yeah.
It's just quality content.
And I'm so good at it. I think I misnamed the Google Hangout. That's my fault. Anyway, and just like always, every time we get back into it, Google is changing stuff. We're actually going to be switching in, I think, 3 weeks over to YouTube Live is what they're going to switch over from Hangouts on air. They're changing a lot of things. Like Hangouts, I think they're trying to kind of phase Hangouts out, especially mobile. I don't know if you've seen, I signed up for alerts to find out whenever it's called Allo, or it's spelt like Allo, but like you're a German person, but it's the new, it's like new ground up messaging app for Google. So It seems like they're trying to phase out Hangouts. I don't know why. I don't know if it has some sort of stigma around it or what. I've loved it. I've been using since what it was.
Yeah, but at the same time, like we use it, but I wonder if people are using it to the extent that they would like people to use it. I don't think people are using it the same way that they use Skype necessarily. I think Hangouts, when it comes to Google Chat, is pretty universal. I know a lot of people use that whenever they're at work or whatever and can't talk with, can't text, or obviously AIM isn't a thing anymore. So
I wish it was, man. You remember whenever AIM got to the point in high school where it was like your away message meant something? it was
passive aggressive away messages.
Yeah. It wasn't even so much that. It was like, oh man, I'm about to put this dope ass lyric in here.
What was the hotkey that you could put in so that whoever looked at it, it would register their screen name as the person, but it would be different for everybody that looked at it. So it looked like you were calling out one person individually.
There were girls who used to do that. That'd be like, I heart you, Gart face. And I'm like, what?
You sleep at night, you're thinking about it. What does it mean?
Thinking about you, Gart face. Like, why is she calling me by my screen? Call me by my given name. It's him, Turb. Anyway, so we got a lot to talk about. So we left off last week. I don't know where you want to start this week, because we left off last week with like kind of 3 things to whet the appetite. And there was some news released today in the
Look at this note sheet full full. I got a lot of stuff to get through.
I got this little baby notebook. There you go. It's got stuff on it. Oh, I don't want to give away too much, but you can't read it anyway. It's backwards. Unless you're dyslexic, then I just gave away the secret sauce.
Yeah. So what did we leave off with last week? We said Rock Band 4. We said No Man's Sky, but we hadn't really played it yet. I've got a lot to talk about on that front.
Right. That was kind of the first thing. It's the first thing in my description.
Okay.
So I know you have a lot to talk about. You picked it up on Friday, right?
Yeah, which was a whole debacle. And we've had this conversation on the show before about how pre-orders have just been phased out essentially at this point, where there's not really a need to pre-order games anymore. I can't remember the last time I've gone to a store and said, "Can I get this game?" And they said, "No, we're sold out. You really have to pre-order those sorts of things because we only get a certain amount in," because people should be getting huge deliveries of things, especially a AAA title for PS4 that's been hyped for 4 years now. And I go into GameStop on Friday. Mind you, walked to the GameStop, totally fine. It's relatively close to my office, but still super hot outside. Walked to GameStop. Guy says, "No, we're sold out, man. Why didn't you pre-order it?" My exact words were, "Because it's 2016 and it's 3 days after the game came out, and I've never had this issue before." And turned around. He's like, "Well, I can get a digital copy to you, or I could order it and have it delivered to you." I said, "No."
You can go to the PlayStation store and buy a digital copy. Like,
yeah.
I could deliver a digital copy.
Yeah. So I was like, all right.
Like the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Like, okay. Nope, I'm not worried about it. Go to Target. Target sold out of it. So then this becomes a huge debacle where Amber's going to 4 places in Norcross, can't find it anywhere there. And then I was going to get JP to pick it up at Toys R Us out in Duluth, and he had the brilliant idea of just checking Best Buy's website because they have all the in-store inventory pulled up, and the one right by my office had it. So ended up finally getting it and was able to sink my teeth into it over the weekend.
That brings up a question of mine. That I guess I personally am moving towards completely digital. Is there a reason in particular that you were going with the physical copy as opposed to the digital?
I still have a very tactile need for games. I still have it. I haven't jumped.
You're a hoarder.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't jumped that within reason. I'll say, like, for Xbox, I'm at the point now where I don't need a physical copy just because I'm not going to buy 2 physical copies because we have 2 Xboxes, so I'll buy 1 digital copy for the 2 Xboxes, right? So it's kind of forced my hand there. But if I am just going to get 1 copy of the game, I just prefer physical. It's the same thing with comic books. I would rather have a physical copy than a digital copy. It's
interesting. Yeah, physical copies of comic books are much easier to fall asleep to, in the same way the books are.
Yeah. It's just there's something about it. I mean, there's really
it's understandable. I just wanted to get that. How do you guys feel? Are you guys fully digital? Do you guys feel like, are you guys like Kevin, where you'd rather have that tactile relationship with your video game?
Well, it's just the whole thing of like, I don't know. It's just something very simple. It's just whenever I get a package in the mail, I got really mad because I got a T-shirt in the mail. And Amber opened it up before I could get home, and it drove me crazy. It's something so simple, but just the act of opening it up. Same thing with like a new game, taking it out of the package, taking the wrapper off of it, and all that. It's the whole experience, I guess.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, and we joke a lot because I work with a lot of mobile hardware at work. So whenever we get new equipment in, Cameron and I, one of the guys I work with, buddy of mine, he and I kind of came up with this. I don't know. It was just kind of, we came to the conclusion how satisfying it was to take the plastic peeling the plastic off of stuff. Not unwrapping stuff, but like, whenever you have the screen protector and pulling that off. He's like, you know what? Real friends let their friends peel it off. It's like that's a show of true friendship. Is whenever you let your friend here. It used to be that way whenever we were younger with bubble wrap and stuff like that. It's oh man, come get in on this. I only got like 3 rows left. You can have them.
Seriously,
but before I go back to you, Kevin, you guys, interactivity, let us know. Are you guys digital or are you guys more tactile? Continue, Kevin.
Got it Friday. Was out of town for the better part of the weekend this weekend, but still somehow managed to put probably 8 hours into the game. Played it a solid 4 Friday night, which starts yet another gripe after dealing with actually getting the game, come home, finally get it booted up, spend about 4 hours with it, triple save it before I get off. The saving is really odd in the game. I think it saves every time you get to a new planet and get out of your ship, but each waypoint is also a save. So I made sure I went to a waypoint and saved it and triple saved it just to make sure it was saved. Get offline, come back a couple hours later after dinner, and have to start all over again. Didn't save the game, which was one of those moments where I had to make a real decision of, am I done with this game or am I just going to bite the bullet and go back through it? At that point, I had a little bit better understanding of the game and how it worked, so it didn't take me as long to get back to that point, essentially, but at the same time, it was really frustrating. And part of the issue is, I guess, their servers are having a lot of problems, and specifically for PC, but even on PlayStation, you don't always have connectivity to their servers. So you really want to just consciously check to see if you have connectivity before you save, because I think it's saving back to the cloud, essentially, to their servers, just like Destiny does for Xbox and stuff like that. So I don't think I actually ended up having connectivity on that first save. It's been fine ever since then, even with Amber and I switching out, but it was really frustrating to have to redo that. But anyway, spent about 8 hours playing it. It's awesome. It's for people like me where, and we've had this conversation on the show, even with games like Fallout, Grand Theft Auto, big open world games, big sandbox games where there's a linear campaign taking place and then there's a lot of side quests and exploration. I tend to stray along the path of side quests and exploration far more than the campaign, that end up A, forgetting what was happening in the campaign, B, feeling guilty for not doing the campaign, and then C, feeling forced into doing the campaign as a result of those two things. And this game, there is no main story for all intents and purposes. I guess there kind of is, but it's very, very, it's as vague as it can get. And it's really up to you on what you want to do. And once you really find out the main mechanics of it and how the game operates, the way the game is driven, I think, presents itself to you based on what your interests are. So obviously there's quintillion whatever amount of planets in the game. I think only there's been one reported instance of 2 players running across each other. It's that rare that it's not like you're ever seeing any other person. As a result of that, I think that all the mechanics deal with that sense of scale and space exploration really well. Going from planet to planet, going from hyperspeed, flying your ship around. And then it gets down into really simple aspects of what that would entail in a realistic sense, where obviously there's the plant life, the flora and fauna, there's the whole Pokemon Snap aspect to it, where you're taking pictures of things and uploading it and getting credits for new discoveries and stuff like that. And even the alien races on the planets, you find these ancient ruins that are scattered all over the planet. You pick up individual words at each one of these, and I'm up to probably 50 or 60 words in this one dialect now, and it's getting really satisfying where whenever you first started going to these things or encountering these different species or these different aliens in particular, everything they were saying to you was in complete gibberish, and then you would have 3 or 4 options to interact with them, and it was just a guessing game. And now I'm getting to where probably a half of the words that they're saying to me I actually understand and come out in English, essentially. So I can make much more informed decisions on how to interact with them. It's like I said, it's all very rewarding once you start digging into it, upgrading your storage for different materials, upgrading your ship and what your capabilities are, your mining abilities and all that. So it's been great. I've really, really enjoyed it.
It sounds to me, I think I'm going to coin this phrase if it hasn't been already coined, Sporterlands.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely takes a lot of inspiration from a lot of different games. I mean, the Borderlands, obviously, with the gunplay, it just replaced guns with planets. Spore, same thing. You know, a lot of the animal life is very, you see cross-pollination between, oh, I've seen this head before on something different, and it's on this thing on this planet.
So that's one of the things I wanted to ask you, and one of the things that I've seen in some of the videos and photos and that and any kind of media that you've been posting or retweeting with regards to, I guess, the species that you run across. And to me, so first of all, this, for all intents and purposes, this is a single player game, right? You're never, I mean, that rare instance of two people running into each other is probably not, I mean, because I think it was 18 quintillion planets. So somebody said if you spent every second of your life on a different planet from now until the end, until you died, you still wouldn't even come close to like a 0.1% of reaching a 0.1% of those planets. Anyway, so I wanted to ask you a couple things. First, the whole engine to manufacture, because nobody's designing these planets, right? They're designing the tools for a computer to create these planets. Does that kind of AI building take away from the, I guess, what you would expect to be uniqueness of these planets? And then is there enough, does it appear in the species, in the flora and fauna, as you put it, that there's enough variability between these planets where you're not just going with, say, 100 different heads of a species, 100 different bodies, and then just doing the mushroom matching game from Mario 3, where you're just trying to line up a head, a body, and feet. So those are the two things. Obviously, I don't have a PlayStation 4. We've talked about that before. I don't really know that I have an interest right now in pursuing it. And from what I've seen, as you were talking about, PC is having a lot of issues with No Man's Sky, the servers, and all that good stuff. Typical. It's funny. It's funny that we talked about this before, a long time ago. Since the new gen of systems has come out, we haven't had a seamless launch of a game that utilizes the internet. And the reason I say that now instead of just a multiplayer game is because this isn't really a multiplayer game. Even a single player exploration game like this is getting hit by a lack of anticipation or a lack of preparation on a corporation's part to anticipate a certain amount of users. And to me, that's on them, because if you're launching a game that has let's just call it an infinite amount of exploration involved, how can you not expect millions of people to be just crushing your servers? Like, you have to anticipate for that. Anyway, so
yeah, I think to answer your question, I think there is enough variation. Prime example is what happened to me last night, where I went to a planet and went there for one particular beacon that had come up while I was out in distant space, and went to explore, got out of my ship, started looking around, and the entire planet is just completely desolate. It's nothing but dirt and some minerals. And each planet has a like an inventory system, essentially, in one of the menus, where you can see how much of the planet you've explored based on the available plant and wildlife on that particular planet. And if you've seen it, it shows what the name of it is. And if you haven't discovered it yet, it has a bunch of question marks. I mean, this planet literally had 3 plants on it. That was it. And so I had got off of my ship and started wandering around, and I got too far away from my ship to warrant me walking back. So I just had to keep wandering until I actually found a way station where I could call in my ship to be teleported to me, essentially, which is another thing entirely that I can talk about, which is why you can't just call your ship to wherever you are.
Yeah, you would think that if you were piloting that ship, you would have some sort of direct communication with it at all times.
That, and then the other gripe and this is another big one. I really don't. This one blows my mind. I feel like it's a bug, and it has to get worked out for an inventory-based game, which is you have slots on your starship and on your suit, and your available amount of items to carry varies based on if you have them upgraded. You know, same old song and dance from every other game you've ever played. Well, some of the items that you get, for example, it's called a Gek charm. It's just something that you sell. If I have 2 of them, they take up individual slots in my inventory. And whenever I only have 17 inventory slots on my suit and I have 2 of these charms that I'm going to sell, it doesn't make any sense to me why I can't stack those whenever I can stack the elements. You know what I mean?
What I was gonna say is anything stackable. So it sounds like, yes, there are certain things. Well, that's how it's always been though. Like in any MMO. So I've started playing EverQuest again, playing Project 1999, and that's early instance of that, right? So depending on the size of and sort of the value of certain items. So let's say, for instance, I kill a skeleton, I can stack the bone chips up because they're small little things that I could stack and get to 20. But if I kill a bear and it gives me a high quality bear pelt, which sells for 30 platinum, it's a lot of money. They don't want you to be able to stack in that case, right?
I guess that kind of makes sense.
And they're super heavy, right? So you have a certain amount of inventory space, depending, in this case, depending on the strength of your character, you have, it's however many, it's like 10 pounds per point of strength. And they don't want you to be able to carry around.
I can understand that from the economy standpoint.
Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah, definitely from that. But from your standpoint, again, for all intents and purposes, a single player game, there really isn't a reason to not be able to stack that stuff unless it poses some sort of exploitative.
Exactly,
advantage.
And that's the thing that I'm struggling to see, because it's not like it's so common that I would be coming across it. And I've probably seen 30 of that particular item over the past week of playing, which would fill up my inventory 3 times essentially, or 2 times if with them taking up individual slots versus just 1 slot if they would stack. And that's not, I don't think that's breaking the game necessarily. I'm still not discarding that because I'm obviously going to save that to sell because it sells at a higher point than a piece of crap like shielding charge thing that I would charge up my shield with. Even then, the shield charging plate is only worth 200 credits. Why can't I stack that? It's very, I can see your point about stacking some things if they're of high value, which the Gek charms in relationship to this shielding plate that I'm talking about definitely has more stature based on the economy, but the lower level things you can't even stack. And then I just end up discarding them rather than using them later, which I would rather do. And so I feel like there should be some tweaking in that, but sorry, I digress.
No, you're fine. That's actually this is just my naivete with this game. I didn't realize there was a whole economy in this. I thought this was strictly discovery. So what are the NPCs like then? So are there like bazaars? Are there merchants that you go to, or is it?
Mm-hmm. It's just like, it's just that's one of the things I've appreciated about it so much is that there's a ton of different levels. And again, this is where sort of the self-driven part of it comes in. Whereas I'm more enticed by getting my inventory slots bigger and learning the languages of the species. Some people can just grind out materials and elements and just sell them to upgrade their ships, or there's ship fighting that takes place and you can pirate these cargo ships that you come across out in space and blow them up and take their resources and stuff like that. But yeah, you come across different merchants that buy and sell different things from you, and use them. And there's also exchanges that take place as a result of that. So your standing and your knowledge of a particular race and their customs bodes better for the prices that you get in return for buying and selling to that individual race's merchants, for lack of a better word. So
it's interesting. So
I mean, and then you'll come across different different waypoints and different stations that have been taken over by viruses and stuff like that, and you have to sort of decode what took place and if you can successfully do that. Coming off your GMAT, I actually had a prime example of that today. One of my favorite things on the SAT was always the math problems where it gave you a sequence of numbers and they had a relationship from one number to the next, and you had to find the last 2 or 3 in the sequence. Well, there was a distress signal in one of these stations that I was at, and it gave me an option of 3 inputs based on a sequence of numbers that it had laid out. So it gave me 4 numbers, and then it gave me an option of selecting another number, and it was that exact problem where I had to figure out, okay, what's the relationship between this one to this one, plug in the number, got that right, and then it gave me the distress signal that was coming from another ship that whenever I went to it, it was actually better than the ship I already had because it had crashed and it had more inventory slots, and then I could just take that ship and repair it, and then that was my new ship now. So there's a lot of really cool stuff like that.
Do you break it down like in Destiny?
No, you just leave it basically.
Interesting. So is there going to be, I wonder if there's going to be a lot of space pollution.
Well, that was one of the things with the dirt planet I was at. I was like, I bet this was a lush landscape 2 weeks ago. And then someone came in and fracked it.
Yeah, see, you're getting into it, and that's good. That's good. There seem to be layers to this that I wasn't anticipating. Because from what I've seen, for the most part, people are pretty lukewarm on the game. Yeah. I haven't seen a whole lot of completely objective to this because I have no stake in this. I'm not playing it. I have no predisposition to liking it or wanting to like it, whatever. And that's just a lot of the gripes seem to be with how, like I was talking about, the lack of variability with some of that stuff. But at the same time, that's what's crazy, right? With these reviews is that somebody's experience at IGN is going to be infinitely different than somebody at Polygon. Exactly. Because of those planets are infinitely,
like, if they went to this dirt potato planet I went to, this would be the worst fucking game imaginable.
Yeah.
And then I turn around and leave that planet, and now I'm on a planet today that I will probably stay at for the rest of the week because it's amazing. And I've seen all this really cool wildlife and plants, and there's a lot of really cool materials there to mine. But yeah, you're absolutely right. One player's experience to the next is going to be completely different. However, I'll say it takes you need to go into it wanting you need to be very clear about what the experience is going to be. And it's not a force-fed campaign. It's not a driven story. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've enjoyed it more so than Amber has, where, she's definitely enjoyed it, but probably not as much so because as well as I do, if she's going to get into a game, she's going to 100% it. And you just cannot do that with this game.
Yeah, no. Yeah, she's very much someone who I see wanting more of a linear game than anything else. That was the other thing I was going to say. So we talk about this, or you and I talk about it a good bit whenever it comes to games. Probably not in a while because we haven't played anything new for the most part. But the concept of a throwaway campaign. So where you saw there's certain company, I guess EA did it twice, where they just said, sorry, no campaign, right? Between Titanfall and the original Battlefield, or Battlefield 2 maybe, didn't have a campaign to it because it takes away, right? So it's for this, and for a lot of like the war games, the Call of Duty games, and Halo. Well, a lot of people play Halo for the story because there's a lot of continuity with that. But like from the Activision, Treyarch, and whatever, those games that come out every year where there's no continuity between the games and any, there's really, for me, not a whole lot of investment into those campaigns. And they almost, like I was saying, it seemed like throwaway campaigns. And that's what was one of the things that I had no idea. No Man's Sky had even a semblance of a campaign. And to you, is it pointless to have it in there? Were those resources probably better allocated elsewhere?
No, I think what little bit of the campaign is certainly there, but it is so it's there for the taking, and I'm getting to the point now to where I'm not feeling guilty about neglecting it, but genuinely interested in it, because it plays upon the foundation of what this sort of side questing has already built, right? So where all of this going around, learning the languages, exploring the planets and stuff like that is taking place, there's this entity known as the Atlas that you have this relationship with, which is guiding you through hyperspace to these other different planets, and you're starting to find out more about what it is and what its relationship is to you and why it exists. And there are certain places that you come across on planets where it says like Atlas Pass version 2, Atlas Pass version 4 required to get into these certain areas. And now I'm kind of like, wow, I really want to get into those areas. I think I'm going to start looking into exploring some of these other planets and sort of following this Atlas arc to find out more and learn more about what that means for me and my role within the universe, so to speak. So
it's the Atlas. Is that just their version of the Traveler?
Yeah, it's the Traveler. It's the thing from the Verizon commercial, from the Tom Cruise movie, it's the all-knowing entity, big red orb thing in the sky. So
yeah, you got to stop the streaming, man, or torrenting. You're breaking up a little bit.
I'm not. Amber's playing Destiny. I wonder if that's it.
Oh, maybe so. Because I lowered my video quality. You guys can't see my beautiful face right now, as well, so I can compensate for it's. We're on the same internet. You and I both have Xfinity 50 or 75 meg in like pretty much the same neighborhood.
Well, I have that, but at the same time, I'm going to have to make a phone call because I did a speed test the other day and I was only pulling down 18 megs and I was pretty furious. So
did AT&T say, hey, we're going to come install our service?
Yeah, exactly.
AT&T, so they're going to sneak into your neighborhood and start installing it for free. Taking over your lines. So it sounds like still very much in the process in terms of reviewing, but let's say on a scale of cold, lukewarm, warm, and hot, where are you?
I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Okay, so that's probably between one. It's not quite scalding hot, but you're probably talking about like the top end that you're able to wash dishes with without burning your hands.
And that's a confident 8.5 out of 10, not having to, and this is what I like about it, is it is what it is. I'm not having to predicate that based on, well, it could be this if they just made some of these adjustments, or it's going to be really great whenever this happens, whereas I felt like Destiny was kind of like that at some times where I was like, I was saying it was better than it probably was at the time, just knowing what Bungie's intent was and having faith in it and genuinely just enjoying my experience out of it, versus this, which is just it is what it is. It's I'm confident in what it is, and I'm enjoying it for what it is.
Yeah, you're rating it not on potential. So right. You see that a lot, like sports games. Like you'll see whenever they come out, it's like, this guy's a 99. He really isn't, but he has the potential to. Like you see that. Like yeah, that makes sense. But at the same time, that potentially, if you continue to have issues with corrupted save data, or if you have issues with just constantly running into deserted planets that you can't.
Exactly.
That 8.5 is probably going to come down a little bit, or you're just going to stop playing the game and invest your time elsewhere. So one of the ways that you need to invest your time soon is we need to get the band back together.
Yeah, we do. And hopefully soon we won't have to get it back together to play it. We'll be able to have a damn update.
Question, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's still up in the air. From what I was seeing, it's still a little ambiguous. So I talked at the end of the last episode. Kevin and I and Amber, God bless her, decided to have one of her impulse purchases on 4th of July. So another thing, Kevin, Amber, and I typically do big things on 4th of July or American holidays like New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. And it typically just involves us eating inordinate amounts of sushi and then going and doing stupid stuff. And then so 4th of July, Amber decides, hey, I want to go buy Rock Band, like the full kit. And then I decided, okay, well, if you guys are going to do that, it only comes with one guitar. So I bought a guitar and the game with it. And
mind you, this was a conversation we had in the store where we're like, all right, let's get it, Tim. You get it too. We'll be able, I mean, whenever you go home, we can still play online. Are you sure it has online? Yeah, it's got online. Guitar Hero and Rock Band's had online since the very first one. Of course it's got online. Continue.
Yeah. Sorry, you can probably hear my dog going insane with his squeaky tennis ball in the other room. Good God. Anyway, so end up buying it, and we got the band back together after I don't even know how many years. Good God, I'm gonna have to go take that thing from him. It's driving me insane. It's the witching hours, of course. So anyway, needless to say, like Kevin was saying, there's no co-op play. There's no there's not even the slightest semblance of multiplayer. The store is a piece of shit, kind of the way that the navigation is set up. But guess what? It's still a really well done rhythm game, and I have put in thousands of hours of my life into not perfecting those games, but to getting pretty damn good at those games. And it's fantastic to get that back in my life, especially having you and Amber close to where we're able to play. Because a lot of times, so I could sit and grind and play that game for a couple hours by myself on a Saturday or something like that when I just want to kill some time and play. But it's way more fun whenever we get the band together. And you guys, we'll have to post that fucking boomerang on on Twitter, because we got pretty stupid and pretty crazy. It's just a fun experience in person, but at the same time can't always get together as adults, so we need that co-op online play. So they are $30. For $30 they are releasing an expansion called Rock Band Rivals.
So it's confirmed so they are going to charge for that expansion for the actual online play. So you're going to have to pay to just play the game online, like that.
But there's hold on, I'm about to pull up the full list of content that comes with it. But like I was saying, it's still kind of ambiguous as to what all that stuff entails. Like, of course, they're pre-order songs, so you can pre-order and you can get Capital City Safe and Sound, and then Sweater Weather by The Neighborhood. And it's funny, we were talking about how Closing Time by Semisonic wasn't in the game. Guess what? It's going to be in the game. So
my God.
Because that'd be a really fun song to play. Anyway, so yeah, it's $30. Part of it, they're selling these bundles, hardware bundles. One of the issues that you and I have run into playing the guitars is that they disconnect during middle of play, and then all of a sudden you fail the song, and then you have to disconnect your controller and reconnect it. So they've actually ditched Mad Catz. That was part of this. And they have new guitars coming out and new drum sets and all this stuff that they're bundling in packages. But the DLC will be $30, and it'll have like new story, like a documentary, and I mean, there's interesting
shit that nobody cares about. It's just
So Rivals mode: band together with friends across the globe to compete in this online multiplayer stats battle. Join crews to prove your skill and crush your rivals. So you could play band versus band, which is pretty cool. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
For $30, yeah. Rocky Drama, just what I was talking about.
Wait. Band versus band. So does that mean you're going to have the whole band in one location, and then you're going to have to play against a full other band?
See, that's again ambiguity abound here. So
because that would be really frustrating too. Like, what if I just want to play 1v1?
Yeah. This again, ambiguity. Online multiplayer. Have friends outside of town? The Rock Band Rivals expansion comes with free ongoing updates, including synchronous online multiplayer in December. So we have to wait till December.
So when does
what does that mean? Does that mean that we get to do quick play? Does that mean that we go head to head? Does that mean that we can get meat drapes back together? Play a show like that's stupid.
Yeah, the whole Mad Catz thing was disappointing. So whatever, I had full faith in the whole Mad Catz thing, and I'll say, aside from the whole random turn off every now and then, or not even it turning off, just it locking up, that's pretty frustrating. But other than that, it's not like I'm been playing it 24/7, but it's seemed to be okay so far. I felt like I went into it with false expectations for the the product just based off of the Mad Catz brand. I know that it used to be related to really poor quality products, and then it's had a bit of a resurgence, specifically in the fighting game community. And I thought that was going to translate well to them doing this product, but for them to sever ties with it, sounds like there were some real issues with it.
Mad Catz used to make what me and my brothers used to so affectionately referred to as turbo controllers, where in the Blockbuster controllers, where you can go buy them in Blockbuster. They're third-party controllers, and they are pieces of shit, but they have that turbo switch.
Oh yeah,
you dominate your friends playing with Honda. So yeah, Jaguar I think is the company that they're going with the kit. The drums don't look any different. The guitar looks a little different, but for all intents and purposes, the structure of the neck and the strummer, or the strum bar, whatever you want to call it, looks the same. But a couple more gripes that I have with the game. Again, still loving it. Still love, and it's not a pay-to-play model, so to speak. Like,
I just wonder if the whole thing ends up being that they have the hardware rights. So what they've done is taken the model that they have from Mad Catz and then got this subpar subcontractor to build them for even cheaper, essentially.
No, but it's a Fender, right? So it's a Jaguar, whatever. Anyway, so again, have a long history playing Guitar Hero, playing Rock Band. Guitar Hero Live apparently has like kind of a pay-to-play model, which I'm not down with. And I don't know. I'm still loving it. It's still fun as hell. And I haven't spent entirely too much money. I've probably spent less than $50 on new songs. I probably have around 40 songs. But I mean, the game comes with 6. At this point, you would figure that these games would come with more songs than just 60 songs. Kevin's going mobile. He's going somewhere.
Sorry, the cat pushed in and opened up the door, so I was...
Oh, you're good. So one of the things that bugs me is that they tout that there are something like 1,800 available songs or over 2,000 available songs. Well, that has to have like 10 asterisks next to it, because the way that this is possible is you had to essentially export from game to game to game to game until you got to Rock Band 4, and those export keys have expired since. So to give you an example, there are songs like a song that I believe that I bought years ago called Prequel to the Sequel by Between the Buried and Me. Really fucking fun song, amazing guitar. Like, anybody who has listened to Between the Buried and Me, you know the guys are technicians. So it makes for really fun play. And I believe I had another Mastodon song that. So these two songs, I can't go back and download, or if maybe I'm mistaken, I bought them on somebody's account, I can't go back and purchase them because I go to the Xbox store and it's not in the game store on the game. You go to Xbox One or the Xbox site and search for it, because you can look for downloadable content there and purchase it. Like if I'm at work or something, I can't, I just want to dick around. Not that I do that. And it says bundle only. So it took me a while to finally realize what that means. So what that means is, okay, this game was available for purchase during Rock Band 2. Okay. So you're saying it's not available now. Right. So what this means is you had to have bought Rock Band 3, and to get that song from Rock Band 2, you had to purchase what they call an export key. So what this is this limited time export key where you're able to export all of the songs that you own that you purchased on Rock Band 2 and all the songs from the disc on Rock Band 2 into your Rock Band 3 catalog. Okay, kind of backwards, right? So, okay, anyway, Rock Band 4 has the ability to import from Rock Band 3. So you would imagine that the next step would be possible too, right? So I can get Rock Band 2 games or songs into Rock Band 4. No, because that export key is no longer available. It's expired. So all of those songs that are in that quote unquote available, whatever, 2,000, 1,800 songs, completely unavailable. So if you're marketing, I'll get to that in a second. So I can't purchase those games or those songs. I keep saying games. I have the ability to purchase Rock Band 3 right now and import that or export that into Rock Band 4, but I don't know what other songs are available for that. It's frustrating. So it kind of goes back to what we were talking about last week, and companies kind of operating with blinders on. So, and what I mean by that is there's a whole revenue stream. Your game, people aren't going to play 60 songs for a year. They're not going to play 60 songs for a month, 2 months, whatever. If they're playing with their friends and they're playing hardcore, even if they're getting the band back together like we do, they're probably, a set 25 songs that you really enjoy playing. There are probably 20 songs that you would like to listen to outside of playing it. Sometimes for me, I like to have a little bit more of a challenge playing those songs, and it's more rewarding whenever the three of us are able to really hammer out a hard song. Or anyway, there's a whole revenue stream that you can open up, and you obviously can open it up because you were able to import from 2 to 3, and you can import from 3 to 4, but there's no, like, you can't cut the middleman and just get the songs. So there are a couple things with that, right? So people are purchasing these songs, obviously. Why not open those up? Why not give yourself money? They're a company who failed to reach a benchmark on Kickstarter or GoFundMe or Indiegogo, one of those crowdfunding campaigns. They were trying to get enough money to build this game on PC. Well, guess what? If you open up all of those songs, and give those Rock Band 4 players the ability to go back and purchase those songs, there are a ton of songs from like legacy consoles that I would love to play that I would gladly purchase. There are bands I listen to, like Between the Buried and Me and Mastodon, that there are songs on there that I can't get.
Right.
And it's frustrating. It's again, I don't understand. Like we were talking about last week, where you would spend your money with fucking lawyers threatening people and allocating your internal development towards ancillary products, as opposed to just opening yourself up and being able to realize you have a revenue stream somewhere. Obviously, and especially from a company like Harmonix that apparently, I mean, for me and for you, they fucked up not putting online multiplayer in the game to begin with. You'd think they could at least not falsely advertise how many songs are available.
Yeah.
Because that's not how many are available. And that just another thing, they need to fix the store. The store's frustrating. I can't see what songs I already own going into it. Like whenever we first loaded it up, I've had like probably 20 songs, 25 songs from Xbox 360 that I had to go through every single artist.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And find out whatever was purchased. And maybe this is just, I'm invested in this game, so I'm going to be hypercritical of a lot of this stuff.
No, I agree.
Again, it's a fun ass game. I have a lot, there's a lot of enjoyment comes out of playing it, but at the same time, there's so many frustrations involved. And it's just one of those things, probably, right, where you spend so much time with something, you're going to put it under a magnifying glass, because you really do. I mean, I feel like there's so many ways this game could be better, and they're just, I don't know, maybe it's limited budget, but at the same time, I understand. So Rock Band Network was another thing. There's so many songs on Rock Band Network that I stopped playing the game for years, so I never got to access the Rock Band Network, where bands were able to put their songs on there for whatever price and get exposure. And there are a lot of bands you and I listen to put a lot of songs on there, and there are a lot of things that I wanted to play, but apparently that was done through the Xbox Live Arcade, and that is now defunct. And apparently it's almost like they described it. It's kind of silly that they have to pretty much go and get the license from themselves. Like they have to license the game, or like the songs from themselves. Like they have to go through a bunch of legal, like some backward ass legal stuff to get those songs available again. But there are, I don't know, hundreds, if not probably thousands of songs on there that they could unleash. And I don't know, man. And another thing, put out some track packs. They used to do that back in the day. Just so much more fun.
Yeah.
And
they're pretty much relying on the older ones that they do have now that are still in the store hanging around. So
yeah, for sure. The upcoming songs that are coming out, just, I don't know, man. Like, I understand. So I would understand for a game like SingStar, where the whole point is like the vocals, but something like Blurred Lines, or even, I mean, Uptown Funk is kind of fun to play, but it gets a little old. There's certain songs that are almost more geared towards just karaoke, as opposed to, it's like, but I understand, I guess, the exposure that those songs have. People are probably going to be more prone to buy those whenever they're, drunk, having friends over and partying and all that stuff. And I guess those are good times, but I guess not everybody who plays those games plays them like we do. So I don't know. I guess gripe session is kind of over, but it's exciting to at least see them back in the game, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's good things on the horizon. Speaking of good things on the horizon, we'll make it quick and then we'll move on to the next topic. Wouldn't be a banter podcast without mentioning Destiny at least once. There was a stream today for Rise of Iron. They have officially announced private matchmaking finally coming to the Crucible, along with a new Crucible game type and a couple other things. But 2 years in the making, it's finally happening in Rise of Iron. Pretty stoked about that. It'll be a good way for us to practice for trials in our free time and set up some one-on-one matches to hone our skills. It'll be a lot of fun, I think.
No, for sure. So what's crazy to me is that Destiny 2 years in, not having that sort of thing is still one of the top, 10, 15 games streamed on Twitch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
now,
definitely.
They just opened themselves up to MLG and I don't know any of the other competitive gamings. Evo just does fighting games, right? So
esports.
Yeah. So they just opened themselves up to a whole new market of competition. And that means Trials, one, is not going to be so sweaty all the fucking time. Private matches, as long as they don't devolve into something like with Halo, whenever we were playing on campus and it was like cat and mouse where you're riding around in a warthog trying to get away from a tank. But no, it's exciting for sure. I didn't even think about that, where we'd be able to set up closed trials elimination matches. Like hopefully
it'll be good for stuff like that. Like if there's a week where there's a bunch of people that want to do trials, it'll just be an easy, all right, we're going to set up a 3v3 match. We're going to do best of 5. And the top 3 players from whichever teams are going to be the A team and B team to go into trials, basically. And then that way, there's no griping over, I got to play with Kevin or, I got to play with Tim or whatever. You can go in with whoever's the best, have your best shot at doing it. Or if you just want to go in with me, you, and Amber or whatever, I think that's a fair way to look at it, though, because we're already going to have to fucking have tryouts for the raid whenever it comes out. So whenever we've got 10 people playing and people are going to be getting back into trials, that'll help make that a little bit easier too. And it'll be a good warm up instead of having to use your first game on a passage as your warm up too. So
yeah, that's true. There is a lot of stuff. We could probably dedicate an entire 30 minutes to talking about the Rise of Iron stuff that's come out. But one of the most exciting things that I saw, I watched just the VidOc or whatever, VidOc, it was like an 8-minute condensed version of the stream that they did. And the one thing that stuck out to me at the beginning was I'm a huge fan of Sleeper Simulant, and I'm a huge fan of the design of Rasputin as a Warmind and his whole fortress. First thing that stuck out to me was somebody running around with yet another Rasputin weapon, and I got super excited. And
all the raid gear looks very, very Sleeper Simulant looking. The whole raid
gear, the Trials gear, I'm excited that it's different. I am not a fan either. I think it looks pretty stupid. Yeah. The ornamentation it looks pretty cool.
I think the Titan definitely got the best digs on both fronts.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. The raid gear for the Hunter looks pretty
No, Hunter's pretty sick too. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it'll be fun as hell. I'm glad they didn't reveal too much about the raid. Yeah. So again, what do we have? We have another month. It's a month from yesterday. Is it the 15th?
20th. So a month from Saturday.
All right.
So moving on. We haven't talked about music in a while, so figured we could talk about what you've been listening to. I know that we had some interaction with the band that you've been listening to and some new stuff that's come out. If you want to talk about that, we can talk about what we've been listening to, what's coming up. Maybe talk about a couple shows we're excited about coming up over the next couple months. There's a few that I'm going to be missing out on because of vacation, but a couple that I'm excited about nonetheless. So why don't you get us started on that?
One of my favorite bands of all time, if you guys are watching, it's mirrored, but it says Every Time I Die, Buffalo, New York.
It's not mirrored.
It's not mirrored? You could see it?
Yep.
Oh, it's mirrored on my screen. Anyway, they announced that they are going on tour. They just finished Warped Tour, and they're coming to Atlanta in October. So I am super stoked. I've not seen them in 14 years since they came and played with at Uncle Doctor's in Columbia. I don't know if you ever even... Uncle Cracker, yeah, they played with Uncle Cracker. No, they played at Uncle Doctor's back in like 2002 with Norma Jean and Dillinger, I think, and Uncle Cracker was there. Smash Mouth. Kid Rock was there. So anyway, they have a new album coming out, which for me, just like last year, I know in anticipation for Color Before the Sun, and you were thinking that was going to be your album of the year. I definitely think Low Teens by Every Time I Die, which comes out in September, is going to be every bit the album of the year for me, because the 2 singles that they put out for it are pretty fucking insane. So aside from that, there are... God, I got to find that. There's so many shows coming up that I want to go to, and I have to pick and choose, I think, which ones, because I don't think I'm going to be able to see them all. So next week, going to see Cianvar next Thursday. I don't know if you might be able to make it, maybe not because of work. But super stoked to see them. If you guys haven't checked them out, supergroup, quote unquote supergroup, because they come from some pretty successful indie bands. Guitarist from Dance Gavin Dance, Will Swan, Sergio Medina from Stole Us, and then Michael Fradzino from
indie bands in the post-hardcore scene.
Independent bands, I guess.
Exactly. It's not really indie music.
No. It's people from the quote unquote Dance Gavin Dance universe, right? So exactly. Somebody from Hail the Sun, Dance Gavin Dance, Stole Us, and then A Lot Like Birds. They're fantastic. They're almost like a more They're kind of, to me, a middle ground between Circa Survive and Mars Volta.
I was going to say the same thing. I actually got some time with that album over the weekend. I really dig it. I mean, the guy from Hail the Sun, his vocals sound so much like Anthony Green. It's shocking.
Yeah, it is. And it's not, to me, imitation's the greatest form of flattery, right? Or sincerest form of flattery. I'm okay with somebody sounding like Anthony Green, because Anthony Green is one of my favorite vocalists.
And he's in like 11 bands at this point anyway, so.
Yeah, right. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he's masquerading as Donovan Malero. So, they're playing next Thursday with My Iron Lung, and then I can't remember the other band that's playing with them. Just more guys from that California scene.
Yeah.
And then after that, what else do we have coming up? The Faint, which is a fucking blast from the past for us, like band that we listen to and have listened to for the past probably 15 years.
Yeah. The Used is doing a 2-night set at the Masquerade, playing their first 2 albums.
Playing their 2 worst albums. Sorry, did you say first albums? Their worst? No, their worst 2 albums is what you meant.
So I'm actually a little bummed about it. I think I want to try to go to them both, but I'm gonna have an issue with the second night. It's the same night as the I the Mighty show, so, and they're both at the same venue, so maybe I can split it somehow if I can get into part of the Used and then go see and then just go see I the Mighty set, since they're going to be headlining that night. So
you don't need to see Picturesque or the other band that's playing with I the Mighty. I'll hold it down in hell. You can go hang out in heaven for 45 minutes and then come down and meet me.
So I may do that. The Coheed show in Athens coming up in October. I'm pretty psyched about that. There's also Dance is going to be coming with Hail the Sun, because Hail the Sun canceled their show, and they're going to be doing that. So I'm going to miss out on that and the Faint show, because it's the week of my vacation. So that's kind of a bummer.
Deer Hunter is also coming, and guess what? It's already sold out. So It's on StubHub between $20 and $50 is what I've seen for prices. I'll probably end up paying that because they were fucking awesome at Shaky Knees, and I'd love to see them in like a club atmosphere. I think that would be fantastic. I've
got Music Midtown, which I keep forgetting about. I'm really excited about it though, so that'll be a lot of fun. The Killers, Churches, City in Color.
Oh shit! I didn't realize he was playing.
Yep,
that's cool.
Pretty sweet lineup. I'm excited about it for sure.
He's fantastic live. His voice is he's outstanding. So in terms of the band you were talking about, A Marionette from Las Vegas, they're actually on Also, I guess, again, part of that whole Dance Gavin Dance universe. Kurt Travis, the second singer, the second clean vocalist from Dance Gavin Dance, he was on Happiness and also on their self-titled album. He started a record company and has a couple bands on it. A couple great releases that have come out of that. It's called Esk Records. Between In Angles, who, I don't know if you guys like really technical guitar work and like dueling vocals and just dueling guitars. It's fun stuff. Kind of post-hardcore, but a lot of technical guitar. That's kind of the theme with a lot of these bands. And then A Marionette just put out an album called Repeating History last Friday, which is fantastic, also on Esk Records. And then, so between those two and the new Cianvar album, I think those are probably the best, for me, the best picks. But on Friday, for Kevin's birthday, Kevin is giving us a new Bayside album.
And I've gotten excited about it now.
Yes, because he finally, after 10 years of me listening to them and just absolutely loving them being one of my favorite bands, he finally decided to, not even upon my recommendation, he just loaded up a radio station, which is what's awesome about Google Music for those of you guys who don't use it. Yeah, it's No Vacancy comes out on Friday. I'm pretty stoked about that. To me, they're one of the more consistent bands in the punk. Well, I guess I don't even know what you call that. It's because it's kind of halfway punk.
Yeah.
It's not post-hardcore.
No.
It's not pop punk, but it's not hardcore punk. It's just right in the middle, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've just been so consistent over the years. They always put out a great release. Their sound isn't that much different from whenever they started, but at the same time, it's enjoyable stuff. And yeah, I'm excited about that coming out. A couple more albums coming out. This music this year, again, I probably dedicate a lot of time to just the releases that have come out this year because they've been fantastic. Some of them a little disappointing, like Misadventures.
Oh, yeah. The more time goes on, I still enjoy it, but it only takes me listening to their older stuff to not like it as much anymore.
Yes. And I guess the same could be said, even though live, the album, they pretty much play like 8 out of 10 songs. To Be Everywhere is To Be Nowhere, the Thrice album that came out this year.
Yeah.
Amazing. I thought they did amazing playing it live, even though they fucked up a couple times.
Yeah.
It was a little, just maybe it's the hype factor in it. They're one of my top 5 favorite bands ever. And
well, I think that just also comes with an aging band, right? I think that's
true.
I think the same thing I can say about Coheed, which is definitely one of my favorite bands. But even though I think the Afterman is one of my favorite, like from start to finish between Ascension and Dissension, I've said this a million times before, and then I start saying it, and then I instantly regret it because they have so much quality work. But either way, you can't compare Color Before the Sun to Good Apollo. You know, but at the same time, it was quality, and I'm not going to stop listening to them by any means. But even then, I think Color Before the Sun, I listen to that way more than I listen to the new Thrice, for example. But at the same time, it's just going to happen with age. And I don't know what the relative difference is between Thrice and Coheed from that standpoint as far as how old they are or what their life lessons are.
They've been putting, I'd say they've run.
They're about the same, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so too.
They've both been around since probably... Wait, what did you say? Sorry.
Because Blood Red Summer and All That's Left were about the same time.
Well, Identity Crisis and Illusion of Safety, I can't remember which one came out first. Their first album was either 99 or 2000, something like that, Thrice.
Yeah.
And then Second Stage Turbine Blade was also around, 2002?
And then they really started picking up steam. I remember both.
For sure.
It was the MTV2 days, essentially, for me.
Yeah, exactly. So they've kind of run parallel paths. I mean, Thrice hung I guess they hung it up for like a year or two. But Thrice's sound is complete. Like you talk about Coheed's sound. I wouldn't even say it's drastically different from the concept albums to Color Before the Sun, but like whenever you look at Thrice, it's like Illusion of Safety, Identity Crisis, kind of run both extremely fast punk rock and then you go to Artist in the Ambulance. It's kind of more of a progression. They get a little heavier, a little slower. And then
I think it's always going to be the end all be all for me. I mean,
yeah, Visu's pretty amazing, but that sort of starts their path towards exploration into more indie rock and more, I don't know, exploratory rock, because they did the whole Alchemy Index and then they do and then Beggars and Major Minor. I don't know, man. But at the same time, so I listen to that album a lot, and I like a lot of the songs on it. But some of them I can give, I could give or take, whatever. I don't even know how. Just talking about disappointment, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree.
A life full of disappointment, but at the same time, it's like a disappointing record from one of your favorite bands is still probably going to be more endearing to you than some new release that you really don't have much investment in that band. But I could go all day. I'd probably annoy you guys. I hope not. I'm trying to bring you guys more, I'm trying to post like every day what I've been, because I changed. I annoy the shit out of Kevin for a while whenever I was giving him suggestions, because I switch art every hour or two, and I'm like constantly exploring new bands thanks to Google Music. And I know he got tired of me sending him suggestions that he couldn't keep up with.
I had to cut you off to one suggestion a week. I think it ended up being one a month at one point.
Yeah. So hopefully,
because I just can't keep up with it. But no, it's good, and I think that'll be something that, I mean, maybe I guess now is the best time to talk about it. No better time than now to talk about where the show is headed and what we see happening with Banter Podcast as we know it moving forward. So Tim and I have done some soul searching, as it were, and started thinking about what we want to do with the show. This thing kind of came up out of just wanting to get together, if for nothing else, just to hang out and talk about what we're doing, because bringing some formality to it, I think we talk about things a little bit more in depth than we typically do, even whenever we're hanging out, having dinner or whatever. And we seem to enjoy it. And if for nothing else, it's allowed us to meet new people and talk to some other friends of ours in the same manner, which has been great. We've gotten nothing out of it, and we don't ever expect to. But to that point, a lot of what we set up at the foundation was just really down and dirty to get us off the ground. We talked about it the night that we set it up, what we were going to name it, and just sort of hit the ground running. Our audio for the intro and outro was very graciously graciously given to us by Geek Squad, our good friend CJ Chapman from high school. We did a down and dirty vocal overlay on it. The title itself was just on a whim. So we've been thinking about what we want to do to make it a better experience for you guys, and how we can develop more so than what we've been able to do so far, rather than just resting on the laurels of what we had set up initially. So all that said, there's a lot of stuff in the works, even a name change. So
dun. Can we touch on that? I know we were talking about recreating sort of the nostalgia of the Pop-Tart, the infamous Pop-Tart bracket, which I still am floored by how much interactivity we got on. Pop-Tart is a universal language. So do you want to go ahead and throw out some names? I know that we were talking about that earlier today.
Yeah, so originally we had talked about doing a Pop-Tart bracket, and I think that may still be a fun way to go about it, though I'm a little apprehensive based on a couple of names that Amber has given me, which were Hitler Did Nothing Wrong and Fuck Bois with BOIS.
I see she took the exercise quite seriously.
Yeah, no kidding. So I texted a couple of friends of mine, or ours, I should say, and even asked a buddy of mine at the office if he could give me some names. So the ones that I have on my list, I've got 6 right now. So
no, we said 5. Cut it down.
Well, it's 6 between 4 different people. So
yeah, I have 5 of my own.
I could only come up with 2 of my own.
Oh, Kevin, you're almost, dude. You're like fucking Dinesh from.
That's boring. Look at all this.
This is the episode of Build a Better Beta on Silicon Valley. Kevin is Dinesh. He's like, oh yeah, you need a couple of invites. Yeah, I could probably, my guys. I could probably tell my bros that, I could probably give you one of their invites.
So the problem I was having was trying to get a name. The things that kept coming up out of this was trying to differentiate between what would be a good trivia name and what would make a good podcast name, and also what would not be on iTunes buried among a bunch of other ones that were the same. Prime example, JP's suggestion that we had worked to was, hey, listen, which is a Navy quote from Ocarina of Time, which was perfect because it was a gaming reference and it was, hey, listen to our podcast essentially, but it's taken and they have a whole network set up and all that. So that one got nixed. So the ones I've got are Hammer Brothers or Hammer Bros, the Indiegogos, which is they were shoot, I can't think of the race. It's a Majora's Mask reference essentially. The Super Koopa Cousins, Companion Cubicle, which was mine, which I was fond of, or Rubik's Cubicle, because I figured people are going to be listening to this at their office, get some of the office life along with Companion Cube from Portal, Board to Death Star, and then I just thought that would end up implying that we're a Star Wars podcast.
Yeah, that'd probably send the wrong idea.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the thing I've been juggling. And then I think the one that stuck the most with us so far was Interstitial, which was from Uncle Neil. What other ones did you have?
All right, so I kind of went down that path of wordplay at the beginning. So the first one, number 5 on my list, my 5th ranked, NBFFs, Nerdy Best Friends.
Okay.
So like we're your NBFFs, because I don't know. The more I say it, the more I don't like it.
That's the way I just kept repeating most of mine throughout the day. I was like, I don't like this even more.
I think 4, Not to Scale.
Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah, because whatever. And then it kind of plays on you being an architect. The 3rd I have is Scatterbrained.
Okay.
Because we are kind of all over the place, right? And playing on that, either connect the dots, which I don't really like a whole lot, but connecting dots and like maybe camel case that with a lowercase connecting. And my favorite, and I don't know why it's sticking with me, just because our whole podcast is hinging around, essentially, aside from the Pokemon Go discussion and talking about our weight loss over the past couple months. We are basically building a show and network around laziness. So 0.0.
Okay.
So, people have those stickers on their car whenever they're, and it kind of plays in digital, like binary, whatever.
Yeah.
Not binary, but 0.0 meaning I don't run laziness. No, that's what I have.
Those are really good. I feel terrible about mine now. So I think we got a good mix.
You want to hear some of the other ones that I came up with that I was like, so I kind of went down the path being pigeonholing us, right? So the Nerdy Best Friends, whatever, Nerdberhood, like the neighborhood, but for nerds. No. It's kind of hard to say, right? That's kind of the reason I nixed it. Dorkdom, like a kingdom, yeah. Dorkdom damn near killed him. I think that would be perfect for the intro. Your next dork neighbors. And then for some reason, Nerds Next Door isn't even taken. That's still on iTunes. It's kind of crazy. And then I was the Bit or the Bite Bros, like Bite Brothers.
Yeah.
BYTE.
Yeah. So I had a couple I was playing with. Mine always came back to food. So there were a couple that I was trying to figure out how they could work out. So I really liked the idea of either Pop-Tart or barbecue on one. So it was like cul-de-sac barbecue or like cul-de-sac club or Pop-Tart cul-de-sac Pop-Tart. Like so like that. Also Baby Fat made it on my board somehow. So I was trying to figure out how to get it.
Well, actually, the cul-de-sac, I think that could work.
So these were some of the catchphrases that I was trying to figure out how we could work around. So like office places where people typically listen to it. So cubicle, water cooler, stuff like that. I was trying to get some food reference in there, potentially barbecue or Pop-Tart. JP was putting in some words that were associated with mixes of things, so like potpourri or trail mix, stuff like that, and trying to figure out how we do like Pop-Tart potpourri, and that just sounded delicious, and got distracted for a little while thinking about that. And then there was a couple other ones that I was just thinking, like, and then some of them just got way too long, like your princess is in another cantina, stuff like that. And so I think we've got some work ahead of us, but I think we got a good base going. If we can get some more,
I think I kind of just. What about the cul-de-sac? Some place at the end of the street. Everybody gets together and talk about shit.
Is that taken?
Seats taken. I don't know. I might have to do a little quick search. You got an iPhone. You do the search. But anyway, I don't know.
I could be down for that.
I don't know what else you want to reveal, but.
I mean, everything else that goes with that, we're obviously looking at getting an actual website put together, and obviously whatever comes out of a name change, we'll be updating our social media and stuff like that. If we change our name, will everything port over on Twitter? It should, right?
Yeah. So everybody that's following us currently or subscribed to us on YouTube, iTunes.
Yeah, that's right.
The YouTube channel
and all that, right? And everything stayed the same.
Yeah, the YouTube channel will likely need to be a separate channel, a new account. But for all intents and purposes, everything else, nobody will have to do any extra work to continue to receive our content.
Yeah. So, we're just trying to figure out how we can bring it all together. But again, to Tim's point about music suggestions and stuff, part of that is trying to figure out what other content we can bring to you guys that we can bring on a weekly basis outside of the show. So, music recommendations, we're talking about interviews with different people that we've met throughout the years, or that, Tim's been very fortunate enough to have relationships with people in some pretty significant bands that we've grown up with and listened to for a long time. And we've been fortunate enough to have a few people on the show for that reason. So it's been a lot of stuff that's in the works right now. We've got a little bit of a roadmap that we're trying to work on, but hopefully over the next few months we can get it all pulled together. And obviously we're always happy to get your feedback and stuff. So if you've got any name suggestions, you can let us know on Twitter or Instagram or email.
No fucking neo-Nazi Hitler Youth names, Amber.
I just watched Green Room last night, so that hit a little too close to home for me.
Green Room? I haven't. What?
It's that. It's the last movie that what's-his-face from Star Trek that just passed away. It's the last movie that he did about a band that plays a gig at a neo-Nazi bar and then is witness to a murder, and Sir Patrick Stewart's in it, and it's good. It's fucking gruesome. It's very much like Red State or some of those other slightly gory thriller movies. I'm a little shaken up by it still. Definitely recommend checking it out though.
No thanks.
We're not brought to you by, but I wanted to give a quick shout out, and maybe we can get the ball rolling on some sponsors eventually. But Amber and I have been sort of toying with some of the, and I'm not going to get a dime for this, but I wanted to ask you if you had heard about it. But these, obviously everybody's got a little subscription thing that they're peddling now. So there's different ones for clothes and snacks and everything under the sun. But we got this Grace box. This thing is awesome. Have you heard about it?
I have not.
Comes with, so this one was the free one, and it came with 4 little snacks in it. And I think the regular one comes with 8, and it's like $10 or something like that.
You said Grays, and you immediately got my attention. You know what kind of man I am.
So I think the regular one comes with 8 different things, and they're all single servings. They're about 100 to 150 calories each. But you figure that's about $1 a piece. That's not bad. But aside from their very pretentious names, they're pretty delicious. Like this one came with honeycomb flapjack, which was rustic rolled oat flapjack with honeycomb and chocolate drizzle.
What's rustic about rolling an oat?
No kidding. There was a banana caramel dippers, which was banana shortbread with caramel sauce. That was pretty delicious. There's still banana cream pie, which we haven't had, which is chewy banana slices, fudge, pecans, and vanilla marshmallows. And there was also rhubarb jam, which was rhubarb slices, apples, and cranberries.
Oh, so, does it come with a time machine back to the 1950s when people ate rhubarb? There are pictures of my dad who looks like he looks like me, but back whenever he was little, sitting on the step at his house. They had a rhubarb tree in the back, or bush, or however the fuck it grows. Anyway,
rhubarb bramble.
He's just sitting eating a big giant red celery is what it looks like. Just chewing on it. He said they would go and grab it and just go dip the end in sugar and just go to town on it. Yeah. Fucking rhubarb. That's such an old people food.
So yeah, that's all I got for tonight, man. How about you?
I guess I finished Stranger Things, but I think we could probably table that.
Yeah.
I would like to almost do a spoiler ridden version, or kind of not a banter goes to the movies, but a banter binges Netflix kind of thing. And review that. No, I think that's it for me. Again, if you're listening to us on iTunes, leave us a rating. Let us know what you think. Oh, we're also on Google Play Music now. So if you guys are like me and Kevin, where you guys have access to Google Play All Access, you guys have access to the Banter Podcast on there now. I like it because it consolidates everything. I don't have to have an extra podcast app anymore on my Android device. It's nice. So Find us everywhere.
So yeah, like Tim said, you can find us all over the place. Find us on YouTube, iTunes, Podomatic, SoundCloud, Google Music, Twitter, not Instagrams yet, Tumblr. Find us both on Twitter primarily. I think that's where we both creep at the most. You can find us collectively at the Banter Podcast, or just at Banter Podcast, I should say. For now, it may change, but you can still find us there for now, interact with us. And then whenever it changes over, you're already set and you don't have to find us then. But no matter what, we'll still let you know whenever it does change and whatever it changes to, and hopefully we can get your feedback on what it should be. You can find me individually at The Architect. That's at _ARC, the number 1 TECT. And what about you?
You find me at Tim Herb, but lately I've just been posting on the show. It's a lot more fun.
Yeah, I flip back and forth. The weird thing is like trying to find out things that make us seem not like a bot, because I've noticed that as a result of all this, we've been engaging with a lot more people that aren't necessarily following us now, that we just think are talking about interesting things, or that we'd like to talk more about, which then informs what we talk about on the show. So, retweeting things that I put on my personal account to the show account just seems very odd and self-centered, and bridging that gap has been a little awkward, but at the same time helps make sure that we're keeping both going simultaneously. So anyway, thanks for checking us out, and we hope to see you next time for an all-new episode of the Banter Podcast.
Bye, guys.